He may have been the Watcher's informant, but he definitely didn't see this one coming. Hi guys, Billy back, and this time we're going to be looking at the Legend Creation Stan Lee figure from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, aka a clone of the Hot Toys Stan Lee figure. Okay, taking the plastic off, we can see that the box is very similar, if not just a complete reclone of the Hot Toys version. They swapped the logos out for Legend Creations. The actual print on there is like a spot UV sort of clear gloss around the picture. It's slightly more matte around the edges. It's got the Stan Lee logo. It's even got the MMS number on there, which is again very cheeky because this, well, technically it was made by Hot Toys, but they didn't make this. Then it's got the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 logo on there. Turn it to the side, again Legend Creations. The original design from the box with Stan Lee written on there. Spot UV on the top and the bottom. And then spot gloss on the back. They've taken out a lot of the warnings and they've just got some very basic serial numbers, a 0 to 3 warning logo. It's got the little diagram on the bottom here with the Watchers talking with Stan while he's sitting on his moon rock. Pretty sure that doesn't come with the figure though. Okay, and I believe it's a slip sleeve, so let's slide it off and have a look what's underneath. Okay, just an observation, you can see that the box, it is very thin and it's quite flimsy. The cardboard is not very sturdy, so it pretty much, if you're ordering this thing, it will more than likely become dented and busted. Most of them come with a bubble wrap on and that's usually about it, so this is more than likely going to come to you damaged. Okay, here's the box underneath. We can see it's got a window display. It's got some of the hands on display with the helmet and the figure itself. Okay, let's pop this thing open and actually see what we get. Okay, and here he is straight out of the packaging. We can see that he comes with some hands. He comes with the dome for his spacesuit. He comes with the backpack. He also comes with a stand. He comes with a pair of sunglasses. And this is the waist grabber. Overall, for the price I paid, it's not actually a bad amount of stuff. And we're going to get in and have a really good look at the details. But so far, it's not looking too bad. But I really have to go in and start picking at it a little bit to sort of find the flaws and that, but at the moment it doesn't look terrible. Here are the sunglasses that it comes with, and we can see that they are pretty good, if I'm honest. They're not as terrible as I expected them to be, and the lenses are a little frosty. You can see just blurring his face out there. They're not as terrible as I expected them to be, and they don't look too bulky or horribly painted. Paint wise, for the price, it's a pretty clean application really. The gold is a little flat, but that's to be expected. They're going to use cheaper paints. I will put these on the figure and actually have a look at it once it's actually on the head sculpt, because that's where it could actually start to show its flaws. He also comes with a stand, and it's like a glossy sticker again. This one is stuck down a little bit better than the last ones were. I don't see any air bubbling on here. And yeah, it's very glossy and shiny, but it's got a picture of Stan on there with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and it's got the Stan Lee name in like a sort of silver print. Quite simple, quite easy, and of course the Legend Creations logo. But yeah, it's not the worst stand they've ever released in one of these figures. It's not the best though either. He comes with 6 hands, and we can see this is them, and these are straight up recasts of the original, I believe, and they are lacking a little bit of detail, but the yellow on the actual straps is reasonably straight. You can tell the buckle has been sort of a bit sloppily applied, but it's again not as bad as it could have been. It could literally just be a blob of paint. There is some silver splodging out into the yellow on the side here though, and that is to be expected. And they're a little bit soft around the fingertips. They're a bit more malleable than they usually are. So it'll be interesting to see if these can go on and off easily, or if I'm going to break the wrist pegs like most of the other HC Toys figures I've ever owned. And this is the backpack that he wears. I think it's like a ventilator thing or something like that, but it's not badly painted, but you can see there's all these horrible creases in there that really shouldn't be there. It's really creased and loose. Doesn't look that good. Again, all these creases in the top that shouldn't be there, but it's like a soft sort of foam underneath, but it's got all the buckles that you would expect, and it's got dirt and weathering all the way around it, which is more than I thought there would be, because I really thought this would just come out as a clean thing. They wouldn't bother weathering it, but they have actually done some work on it. But still, it's a bit underwhelming with all those creases in. And he also comes with a Spaceman Dome, and this was the thing that I thought would be the worst part of the figure, because it's really hard to get a dome cast like this, and it's even worse if you try to rip one off, because it'll probably be like inaccuracies. I was expecting it to be really frosted over and all sort of warped and stuff, but yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's actually more clear, less frosted, but you see there is some sort of warpage or sort of dome shape in there that changes the vision through it there. Peeling off some of the plastic, this is it underneath. It's going to need a good clean, I reckon, because this stuff has probably stuck to it a little bit, some sort of sticky residue, but it's not as terrible as I was expecting it to be, if I'm honest. And this is the figure himself. He weighs quite a bit because they use one of these sort of chunky bodies, and they're always just a little bit too heavy, and they usually have single bends in the arms. Let's test it. Yeah, single bend in the arm. But let's take a look at the head sculpt, and it's a straight up recast of the Hot Toy, and we will get the Hot Toy out. I do have it, so we can see exactly what sort of quality we're going to get. But it's a lot more of a cleaner paint application than I thought, but obviously it's losing some of that old man wrinkles and detail that you got with the original, simply because it is a recast. And that neck is long, look at that. That is a long neck, and it seems to be fixed. It can turn left and right, but it's actually on a sort of fixed joint there, so he can't move his head around too much. But yeah, I have definitely seen worse, but I'm thinking that moustache looks a little bit lacking in paint detail. I'm looking at the paint on the teeth. Yeah, they're not as terrible as I expected them to be. I just thought these things would be wonky, and also I thought the eyes would be wonky, but let's see. Nope, they're actually straight, and he's actually got quite a nice gloss on the eyes. Yeah, I'm very surprised by that, but that neck is silly long, and the head looks really small on this quite chunky body. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if we can get the glasses on him. It's a bit fiddly. I'm going to have to do this off camera because I can't get them on properly just yet. And yeah, I've managed to put the glasses on, but they're a little wonky. You can see they're slightly big for this sort of shrunk down head, and yeah, the arms do ride up and change, and it's very hard to get them on. Look, they've just fallen off. So yeah, it's exactly what I thought it would be. It would be difficult to get those sunglasses on, and I have a funny feeling that if you want them on, pick them up, you're either going to have to warm these up and reshape them a little bit to get them tighter to the head, or you might have to actually just sort of glue them on the edges. Okay, coming down into the suit, we can see it's actually the most impressive piece about this really, because it is very close to the original. The stitching is really good, if I'm honest. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I would thought it'd be wonky, the suit would be super wonky, but it's not. It actually fits pretty well, and the stitching around the hem here is really quite nice. This is a little bit warped around the back here, but nothing too bad. I mean, you're going to put this backpack on, you ain't even going to see it. And this part is even velcroed like the original onto the actual suit. This is the dome holder. We've got these two bits here, and I think they are magnetized. We'll test that in a minute. And they go around the back here to go onto the backpack. But there is some nice weathering on this front panel here. However, there isn't a massive amount of weathering on the suit itself. Looks like near the bottom of the trousers they've done some weathering, but it's not great. However, when we come down and have a look at the trousers here, this knee pad is a bit wonky, and I'm not sure if that's something I can futz with to get straight again. But yeah, when I'm looking at it like this, you can see it's turned inwards a little bit, which is a shame. But these rubber pieces here attached to the bottom of the suit is pretty good. Okay, in terms of articulation, he can look left and right as much as he wants, but he can't look up or down. It's sort of on a fixed joint there. can get the shoulders up just about shoulder length, but not too much. There is some swivel in there, but that comes from the ball joint in the shoulder. There is a single bend in the arms, so they get to about 90 degrees. The hands are on wrist pegs, and they've got about as much articulation as you would expect from a wrist peg. The arm can go straight out pretty comfortably, and if you bring the arm in double, it can sort of come near to his mouth like that, but that's about as close as it's going to get. Torso articulation, you can bend forward a reasonable amount. You can bend back an okay amount, but it's restricted by the suit. This was very much like the hot toy itself. Waist swivel, he can go about this far before the suit starts to return him. So yeah, it's a pretty nice waist swivel. It does have thigh swivel. The legs can go up to about there. There is a double bend in the knee, so it can just get past 90 degrees. And the boots are on a ball joint, so they have a little bit of rocking forward and back, left and right. Not a massive amount, but more than I actually thought there would be. Okay, and just putting the backpack on, we can see it does come with these sort of clips on, and I was worried that these might not fit, or they may be misshapen so they wouldn't actually go on properly, but they click into place pretty easily like that. So yeah, it's all clicked into place. The straps are a little long around here, and they also fall down, and you might want to glue this into place up here to try and get it to a reasonable height level again. As you can see, it's very loose around here, or maybe just adjust this strap and use some fabric glue to tighten it up. Okay, and moment of truth with the magnets. Let's see if this actually does have a magnet that can clip on here. Should be underneath this handle here somewhere. Okay, moving it all the way up and down around here, we can see it cannot stick. If there is a magnet in there, it's hidden, so you may want to have to modify this in order to get this to magnetize, or just glue it on. Okay, another moment of truth. Let's see if the top part has magnets in it. Oh, that one does. And that one does as well. So yeah. We have magnets up the top, just maybe not down the bottom here. I might have to, check this out a little more and see if there's any way I can find some sort of magnetic piece in there. But right now I can't feel any. Okay, looking at the dome with the plastic taken off, I can actually see there is a little bit more distortion in the orb than you would normally expect. I'm turning it and you can see that the picture of Stanley in the background is slightly sort of warbling and stuff. It's not that bad, but it is there. And there is a light scratch in the actual dome itself. Yeah, there's a scratch just here. Voila. So yeah, there are some inaccuracies in it, as to be expected. And I'm just cleaning off any sort of the sticky residue from the plastic wrap around it to try and get it as clear as it can be. And yeah, you can see some imperfections in it just here, some mild scratches just in front of my finger. So yeah, both sides of the orb have mild scratching in them. Okay, and now that the orb has been put together, let's see if it will actually fit on the figure. It's a bit fiddly. And here he is with the dome on, and you can see it's slightly frosted. I hope this is coming out in the camera enough, but yeah, you can see it's a little bit foggy. It's not really bad, but it's very noticeable to me because I have the original and I know how clear that dome was. But this has a mild frosting to it, but you can actually see the head sculpt in there anyway, and to be honest, you might want a little bit of frosting in there to hide some of the lack of detail in that head sculpt. But we can still see that that neck is a little long, so it probably could do with some modifying. However, this is him fully kitted out, and I have definitely seen worse from Legend Creations. I did notice that some places were selling the original Hot Toys Stan Lee at a slightly discounted price, and I'm wondering if that's because Hot Toys knew this was coming down the pipeline and they needed to shift on some of the excess stock or whatever. I don't know. You pay for your Hot Toy because of all the detail and the quality and the design, and these Legend Creations are just a cheap pale imitation, and they should not be used as Hot Toy replacements. Probably for background characters or something like that, or maybe if you're just not somebody who can afford a Hot Toy, maybe this would be really sort of quite cool on the shelf next to your TV or something like that. So those are the kinds of people I'd expect will pick this up. But also, this will be really good for modding. I mean, here's the spacesuit, you've got the shoes, you've got the hands. You could put any head sculpt in here and it'd probably look cool. In fact, give me a second, let's try that. There we go, Space Joker. Yeah, like I said, this suit could be used for, well, any figure really. You could just put any of the head sculpts. I think the HC Toys ones kind of work better because they've all got the same sort of neck port, and this body has a very similar neck port to the original. But yeah, you can see in actual fact I think that looks a little bit better sitting on there than the Stan Lee one, which sits up a little bit too high and the neck is far too skinny. Okay, and here he is just prancing around on the moon, feeling pretty fancy free, having a great old time. Posing is not as bad as I thought it would be, and I think the articulation is a little better than the actual official version, but I think that's because there was a lot of padding in the official, whereas they've cheaped out on it here, so he does have a little bit more freedom of movement in certain ways. However, he doesn't have double jointed arms, they're single. And here he is just sitting on the moon rock from the official version, and I have to say it's just as difficult to get this guy to sit on that thing as it is the official one. I always thought that this moon rock was always a little bit too small, because every time you try to fit him on it, it doesn't really fit, but also at the same time it's very light, so you know, if you're moving this around, you're trying to get him in the right position. This thing just gets pushed around like mad, and you need some sort of weight here in order to be able to manipulate this guy effectively because of all the restrictions in the suit. And it goes the same for the Hot Toy as well. It's not just this, both have the same problem. However, it's not without its flaws, so buyer beware. Okay, and here he is standing next to the Hot Toy Stanley, which is on the left, and you can tell that there are differences between the two. The yellows are a little different. This bit here has been recast and shrunk. The dome is a little bit smaller here. His head is smaller. I mean, I tried to get the glasses to stay on, but they don't. They just fall into the dome because the head sculpt and the glasses don't match very well. But yeah, we'll compare everything in the next video. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. This was just a breakdown of the figure itself. Overall, it's a pretty nice clone of the original. I mean, there's clearly a lot of flaws, but I have seen worse. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. If you do me a favour now, if you get the fuck out of my cave, I can go on and film the versus video. Bye bye.